Today's lecture is looking at thinking like an economist. So just checking out the different toolkits that economists use. You can check out Homer Simpson here. He also is a big fan of The Economist, apparently. There's a good role model for you guys. Again, economics is looking at limited resources and unlimited wants. Basically, every decision that you can make is an economic decision. Whether how to spend your time, the different information that's available, clean water, potential spouses, especially for some of you, just kidding, employers, employees. If you want tickets for the finals, it's obviously a scarce commodity. Choice to go to school or not. That was an economic decision that you made this morning to get up and go to school. Whether or not you want cinnamon on your latte, and then the big public policies that officials want to enact. And so those are all things that, we want to do a lot of these things, but there's limited resources to get them done, or we have to make choices and trade-offs. One of my favorite quotes is, "Economics is the lens through which people who seek happiness should look before making decisions." And that's my hope, is that everyone in here will understand that every choice you're making is an economic decision, and you just need to weigh the costs and benefits and hopefully make a choice that will have the best outcome. In economics, we look at the need for abstraction. We use a lot of simple graphs. We basically look at plotting price and quantity. We'll put a couple curves on there, and really those simple illustrations, those graphs kind of show what's happening in the real world. It might be unemployment, might be poverty, might be why different products cost more and why other products cost less. And so we use those simple things, and they can really explain these real world problems. There's a picture of Lance Armstrong on there, and I probably should change that at some point. But the example there is, if Lance Armstrong gets a flat tire, what's going to happen? And the simple answer is he's going to slow down. But then some students might say, well, what if this happens? What if he's going down a hill? What if he just fell off a cliff? All these different things, they try to come up with different scenarios. But in economics, we say, in general, ceteris paribus, which is a Latin term, just means we're just going to take everything and keep it constant. So it allows us to use these simple diagrams to really illustrate these complex problems. The role of economic theory is looking at, why do events happen? Why did the recession happen? Why do prices go up? Why do prices go down? What's going on with the unemployment rate? And so we use economics to kind of analyze those different things, and really why humans make the choices that they make. So studying the behavioral economics. Correlation does not equal causation. You probably already know that. But for the example here, just because it's raining out, that there's actually less crashes and accidents when it's raining. It doesn't mean that they're correlated, that one caused the other. But instead, it just means that some people might drive more safer. If you're my mother-in-law, you might not even get out of the house. And so there's just things like that that will happen that will lead to less accidents. Economic theories are used to predict future trends. Again, trying to predict what's going to happen. When's the next recession going to happen? What's going to happen with stocks? Just trying to use the different things that economists can use to analyze and try to predict, and then also try to help when those things do happen. How to alleviate the recession so it's not as bad as the last one. Economists use mostly graphs. You'll see a lot of those in class, and they're not too bad. We're not going to do a lot of math with it. There is some math there, but for those that like math, you'll be able to kind of maybe dig a bit deeper and understand a little bit better. But otherwise, we'll keep it pretty simple, I think. There'll be some memorization of some cost curves and things like that when we get to Unit 3. But the first couple of units really aren't too bad. We are looking at microeconomics right now, and there's another macroeconomics is usually the second half of econ. We're focusing on micro, and that's just looking at individual parts of the economy. So looking at the decisions that you make as a consumer and decisions that a producer might make. So making those, just looking at those small transactions. Macro is looking at it more on a global or a national scale. So you're looking at poverty, unemployment, some things like that, GDP, looking at what the government can do with fiscal and monetary policy. That would be more of a macro concept. And here's just a list of different micro questions compared to macro questions. I'm not going to bore you to death tonight reading those, but you can look over that, so you can pause that and take a moment to read those. This is a pretty quick lecture. The last thing is positive versus normative analysis. Positive statements are statements that attempt to describe the world as it is, so they would be facts, and normative statements are about how the world should be, so they're opinions. So economists use both types of statements when describing the world. Let's practice those a little bit. So an increase in the minimum wage will cause a decrease in the employment among the least skilled. Is that positive or normative? If you said positive, you are right because it is a fact. And you can kind of see the words there, will cause. That kind of tells you that it's a fact. State governments should be allowed to collect from tobacco companies the cost of treating smoking-related illnesses among the poor. Positive or normative? Correct answer is normative. And the key words there might be should be allowed. It's kind of more of a value statement. Two more. The income gains from a higher minimum wage are worth more than any slight reductions in employment. Positive or normative? There you are, normative. So worth more, again, is kind of more of a value or an opinion. And finally, higher federal budget deficits will cause interest rates to increase, positive or normative. And this one's positive because it says will cause. All right, that was a short little lecture for tonight. Enjoy your evening.